Hey, in this episode, we're going to show you how to replace the battery in a first generation Suzuki V-Strom. Mine happens to be a DL1000 or V-Strom 1000, but the same procedure would apply to the 650. And frankly, this applies to a lot of motorcycles. There's just little nuances in how you get in and out of there, but this will be specific to first gen V-Strom. Welcome to Urban Monk TV. Okay, so my battery died. You may have seen a previous video on things that you can look for to know that your battery is dying and maybe catch it before it leaves you stranded on the side of the road. A couple of tips that don't require any sort of electronic measurement tools, volt ohm meters, that kind of thing, multimeters. You don't need that. There are some indicators that you can look to get in front of a complete failure of your battery. But that's previous video. This one is just swapping out a new battery. So let's get into it. So first thing is I ordered a new battery. Just took a look at my service manual, or you can open up your bike and look at what battery's in there and just get the same type of model. So this one is a YTX 14BS. So Yankee Tango X-Ray 14 Bravo Sierra. Now you can do a CTX 14BS, that's fine. It's really just, I think, a different manufacturing term. I don't believe there is any significant difference between a YTX and a CTX. What really matters is the 14BS is what fits these batteries. The Suzuki service manual isn't super helpful in which battery to get. It just simply calls for a 12 volt, 10 amp hour battery. Well, the YTX 14BS is actually a 12 volt, 12 amp hour battery. Or for what it's worth, it's a 200 cold cranking amp battery. I've seen them as 220, and I don't know if there's really any difference whatsoever between something that says 200 and versus 220 on the packaging or the label that's stuck on the battery. Maybe there's like something more to the plates in there, but I don't buy it. I think there aren't that many battery manufacturers out there, frankly. All of these things are coming from the same places for the most part and have different labels on them. So there's the battery we're going to put in. So the battery on the V-Strom is located under the seat, like many motorcycles. This is the adventure model, so I first need to remove the top box in order to get the seat off. Then, using the ignition key, I can pop the seat. Popping the seat off requires the ignition key. Stick it in back here behind, between your exhaust, and just turn it and it releases it. And off it comes. Now, before I go through the trouble of actually pulling the battery out, I'd like to just take a quick look and see that dimension-wise I've ordered the right battery. It does appear that I have. That's one way to do it. Now, of course, the depth is yet to be determined, but odds are pretty good I have the right one. Or I could get my tape measure out and measure that. If you want to do that before you even order, many of the places, like I got this battery on eBay, they'll have the dimensions listed there on the seller's listing, and you can double check and confirm that way also. So your particular setup may be different than mine. I have this trickle charger or battery maintainer lead that's attached here so that I can plug that in without taking the seat off and maintain my battery when I'm not riding. I also have an extra circuit here for some, call them fog lamps or accessory lighting. I don't need those because I'm not using those lights anymore, but you may or may not have something like this too. So This is a 10 millimeter bolt. I'm going to take the positive off first. And just keep track of my wires. You can keep these screws, or the new battery came with them. Then I've got this strap on there. That just can flip back here. And I can literally just lift the battery out. Oh, I had an ETX 14BS. Again, doesn't matter. So, lasted 5 years, worked great. New battery goes in. We'll start with positive. I have these two leads. Oh, let me get my nuts and bolts. So the nuts are these square things. They have to slide in underneath. Careful they don't slip out. I'll slide this other one in here. And just get it kind of lined up with the hole on top. And do that by pressing the screw in for a second. And then I've got this, and my charger lead. Put my screw through those. Get it started. Then it takes a little while to draw that nut up from underneath, but eventually it tightens. I don't have a bite on it yet. There we do. And then I'm just going to snug it. It does not have to be torqued down really heavy and hard. Like that. It's snug. I don't know. There's not like a torque spec for that. And then what have I got here? I've got my charging lead. First one down has got to be the negative. Then my Now, I'm trying to press down and capture, get the threads to start on the nut below, but because of the number of leads I have here, it won't go down far enough. So I just need to finesse that nut up. So now what I'm going to do, because I'm having a struggle lifting the nut from beneath up, is approach it from both sides with these tiny screwdrivers. And that way I should be able to lift it in both directions. Essentially what I need is something to go under and hook and lift that up. I'm going to try that with this little 90-degree hook. One is to hold it in place. The other, to get under it. There. The fact that I'm pushing the bolt up is telling me that I'm having success. So there. Now, I don't know if you can see, but I've grabbed that square nut from underneath and have it threaded. Now I can put these extra leads in and tighten it down. And just snug. Great. Batteries in and wired. Last step is to put the retaining strap back in place. To hold it there. New battery. Let's see how it works. Much better. Oh boy. Taking the engine a little while to come up to a nice idle speed, but there he goes. All right, so with that done, I can put my seat back on and my top box, if you have one. And last step, plug my maintainer in so that I take care of my new battery when I'm not riding. Well, that's it. I have a new battery. I have a hat back on. I've got a new battery in my motorcycle. Of course, I'm going to record that in my journal so that I can keep track of how long this battery's in and hopefully replace it before I have a complete failure that puts me on the side of the road. How do you do that? Look at the other video that I did on signs that your battery is about to give out on you. Simple things. Hey, and also, if you like motorcycling, check out my book, Creating Mr. Corton. It's the story of the build of my cafe racer, Mr. Corton, as well as a story about a young man falling in love with motorcycling in Fargo, North Dakota in the early 1980s. And be sure to click like and subscribe if you want to become an urban monk. Thanks for watching.